Phone or the computer. Phone.
You can kind of go back and forth. There's people watching. Good morning, hello. Yeah, I tend to just kind of look both ways, but whatever you guys want to do. Oh, we're live now. We're live on Facebook now too. Good morning, everybody. It's Billy here, Billy in B Town, Meridian Real Estate, and it's Friday. It's coffee chat time, and I am here with my good friends Krista and Mike Cassini, and they just opened a new yoga studio, yoga and wellness center. Would you say that? Yeah. We're just gonna call it a yoga and wellness. And this is probably my first. Sorry, my first coffee chat sitting on the floor. I love this. This is actually really comfortable.
And if you need to switch positions, we got.
Okay, perfect. And then maybe we'll take a nap.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see you guys in a little while.
We'll snooze. So I've been watching these guys because again I've known these two for a very long time. How long has it been?
Probably a decade.
Yeah, has it really been a decade?
Like 2009-ish, I think.
Wow. Geez, so yeah, a very long time.
Yeah.
And through Church Decor.
Yeah.
Dance
Got to
company.
share the stage with you.
Yeah, and you too. We all danced together. Funny. So yeah, we were all dancing together and kind of connected that way.
Yeah. I think were we all in one piece together, I think, as well?
Yes. The Sherlock Holmes one.
With a fog machine.
That was great. I love that one. So recently they just opened up a new yoga wellness studio here in downtown Billings. So I wanted to just kind of get some information so you can let the people know that you guys are here and kind of what services you offer. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll let you first tell everybody who you are and what your background is.
Okay. Krista, and I'm born and raised here in Montana, and have a dance background and a history degree. And over the course of my life, I've just kept coming back to wellness and wanting to take care of my own self, and then obviously it's just filled out into taking an initiative to offer space for other people to start on their wellness journeys. And so I've gone through an interdisciplinary arts degree, and I've also done a life coaching certificate and a body mind certification for psychotherapy, not as a psychotherapist, but as an embodiment coach. And then I use the phrase art doula quite a bit in my work too, because I often find myself providing space for artists to either build artwork or facilitate them so that their life can be in a balance so that they can make their artwork.
So, okay, because I saw that on your website. What is art doula exactly?
Well, I was trying to find words, phrases that, because there's director, there's producer, there's choreographer, there's all these phrases that just weren't quite fully fitting how I show up and help folks. Or how I show up to provide some services. And so art doula was something I just kind of created on my own.
Oh, nice.
And I was just trying to think of ways that you care for something that's not, it's not about what I'm creating, it's just creating a space for folks to maybe have better resources, help them fill out a grant, help them with a website, or maybe actually helping them with a project on stage.
Oh, nice.
So it didn't really feel like producer, choreographer, those didn't really fit in those categories. So art doula is what I made up for me.
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Yep.
That's the first time I seen that. I was like, ooh, what's the art doula?
Yeah, the doula part, yeah. Folks like, are you a doula?
Yeah.
I'm not a real doula, I'm not a doula.
You help produce, not the baby, but the art.
Yes. I help with the baby. The art baby.
The art baby. Oh, I always remember your guys' name tags that said, hi, my name is Art. I love that. I still have mine sitting on my desk, actually.
I love that. Those are still floating around. I think that we still attend to that project quite a bit, not necessarily with actively handing out the name tags, but I think there is a lot of metaphor with how we talk about art on the wall, but then reflecting and making that a metaphor for ourselves.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. How about you?
Goodness. Okay.
Tell us all about yourself.
I met Krista 24 years ago in Helena when she was dancing at Carroll College, and followed her here to Billings. So I've been here with Krista for 23 years and experienced dance and the somatic movement aspect of dance, which is quite lovely for me because I've always enjoyed movement, whether it's mountain bike riding, motorcycle riding, skiing. It's all movement.
Yeah, that's true.
It's something I'm passionate about. It's something I have to express. as I get older, it's like those questions of how do I make this vessel last so I can continue to do the things that I love to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And kind of bringing all these things together and doing all that stuff more safely. And yoga has provided a pretty good foundation for that, to bring everything together.
So were you ever into the yoga and all that before you met Krista, or did she kind of get you into it?
I did some Tai Chi when I was young.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But I did do yoga at various gyms throughout Billings in my years of lifting weights and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And was also a cycling instructor.
Rodeo.
Rodeo. I always forget that. Yeah.
So again, they're all movement. It's all movement. And kind of start to look at everything.
That's true.
And there's, I think, enjoying kind of the mindful, mental aspect of the game, of everything that we do, whether it's doing dishes, trying to do each thing more smoothly, with less energy, and more safely. Yeah, I know, but yeah, we have to do them every day. It's part of life.
Sure do. Right, Frank? Yeah. He's watching.
How do I figure out how to enjoy this thing that I do every day?
I like that. Like the mundane tasks that you hate, like how do you make them enjoyable? I like that, because doing the dishes, I hate cooking. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that like to cook. I hate it. But yeah, I like that, to find the positive and enjoy it.
Yeah, we can call those things the difficult easy.
Yeah, because life is too short, right? To be not liking it.
Dishes.
Yeah, exactly. Conflict. I hate you, dish. Go away.
So Krista was certified by a lovely guru or mentor of ours, Jeremy Wolf, who lives in Denver. She's certified in what's called Yoga Nidra in Helena. What was it,
2019.
It was a wintry time. We spent some time in Helena.
Yeah.
Krista got certified in Yoga Nidra, which she'll talk about at some point here as we continue the chat.
Yeah.
It's a very kind of quiet form of awareness and meditation, so to speak. It was very supportive of us during quarantine.
Oh gosh, quarantine days.
It just really helped us become aware of our anxiety and our joys and our concerns and our fears, and it's been really helpful for us to kind of rewire our way of being in the world. And it's a very old practice, and it's been done all over the world, and it's lovely to share something that I feel works so well for me and for us.
Yeah.
And it is part of yoga. It's related to yoga, as is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga.
Oh.
And so all those things were kind of Rainsville Studio as a culmination of all those things.
That's awesome. Because I remember during quarantine, you guys were doing some virtual sessions, and I joined in on a couple of those, and it was so, because my mind is always like, it's like a monkey brain, right? It's like and I'm always go, right? And so it was nice because it was very still, and like just really your inner. I had felt more relaxed in my life. So
yeah, I remember you got to do it on your balcony.
Yeah, it was on my little patio. Yeah.
I think that was what was so wild about the virtual sessions is that with Nidra, it's a horizontal meditation, so folks lay down, and so you're chatting with them, getting them ready for the practice, and they lay down, and you're just looking at their yard or their bedroom or wherever they're practicing. You don't see the human being anymore, so you're just like, I think they're settled. Let's proceed. And sometimes folks just sleep. They go to sleep after the practice, so it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So I would just sign off and be like, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I remember that your voice would just be like, okay, bye. Okay, see you later.
Which is, I mean, that's an absolutely okay thing, particularly with, like you said, like if your brain's really busy at the end of the day, like I was happy to send folks off to sleep, but it didn't need to bring me back out.
Yes, absolutely. Because that was one of the things, you guys probably saw my posts today. So 6 months sober.
Yeah, excellent.
And that was one of the reasons why I drank every night, is because I could not get this to stop talking.
Yeah.
And so I really leaned on alcohol, but then it started to become a problem. So yoga has been helping a lot, and just kind of that, like you said, that mindfulness and just breathing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we forget to breathe.
Yeah, Mike says like that's our most intimate teacher.
Yeah.
Is that the phrase he uses? Like our breath is such a great resource for busy mind. Hyperventilating, you can get the content. It's important to really recognize how much power we have.
Yes.
And I think it's an absolutely common thing at the end of the day to be like, I made it to the end of the day, I want to wind down and have a beverage, and like you said, but it doesn't necessarily help you interface with why you're wound up.
Right.
And so sometimes when you're ready to interface with it, it's nice to be able to breathe into it and be like, why am I anxious?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not able to fall asleep tonight?
Yeah, exactly.
And those conversations can be pretty big.
Yeah, because then you have to really face like your
Yeah.
demons and what's going on, which is a little scary. But so what inspired you guys to open up a studio? Because I know that you guys have been really talking about it for a long time and thinking about it. So
I think the studio for me has always like been a question of something I've wanted to be interested in, but it has changed over the years because as a dance arts educator, I think probably back a decade ago when I met you, that idea would have been more of a dance-based studio. But as we've gone on in our lives, obviously our practices have changed and our focuses have changed. So the studio has become what it is today, largely because of our lifestyle. And I don't think it was really anything we were solidly thinking about until Mike decided to certify. I think I was building my collection of things that I wanted to offer and be in as my profession and career. But then once Mike decided he wanted to be a yoga instructor and take that journey, anybody who's done those certifications knows it's transformative to to spend 200 hours with your teachers. And so he was going down to Denver in 2021 to certify with our teacher Jeremy, and also he certified with a teacher named Devin Sweeney. And so at that time, I don't know that we had really thought that was going to culminate in a studio, but it was just a journey that Mike wanted to take in his own personal practice. But as we were finishing out 2021, it started to feel like, I think we want to do more than just have this be ours. I want to share what we have to offer. And so that started this process. I keep pointing this way because the door's there's a logo on the door, and so I keep pointing to that. But so the idea of like, well, what do we name it, and all of these things kind of started to come up. And we often gravitate towards the Pacific Northwest, and there was a conversation. It happened a lot where folks would be like, "Oh, you don't want to move out there; it's rainy. There's so much rain out there." And I finally was like, "I love it. I love the rain." And I started to really actually kind of contemplate philosophically about what is it about the rain. Obviously it makes us feel gloomy and things like that, but I don't. I get enlivened by it. It's really something that inspires me and makes me feel calm and settled. And so we started talking about kind of the shadow work that happens when we actually do interface with our anxieties and our fears and really get quiet with our thoughts and quit using distractions to find things that might, push us away from being open to maybe some changes that would help us. And so the Rain Soul Studio conversation started with Mike and I about we tend to work more in that way rather than that hyper positive environment of like, let's get settled in with our breath and really ask some questions. And so by the end of the year, we were really kind of settled in with that name and thinking we wanted a studio. We thought we were going to move out of state and start a studio in our new location. We were looking at places in Washington and in Colorado and things like that and stuff. And so that really kind of changed. We taught nomadically for a year here in Billings, just kind of getting comfortable with being teachers, with being educators in our form of life as we are now.
Right.
And then this space opened up. We were telling you that we saw it really early in the morning, like in March this year. And it just really, it was a 180 shift. We stopped searching for homes out of state. We just were like, I think maybe we need to do this now. And so that's kind of how that opened up for us. But I think the path to Mike choosing to certify in yoga was kind of born out of an event in July. We were on Lake Elmo floating around on an inflatable kayak.
Nice.
He wanted to go swimming. And so he jumped off in the water and I was still in the boat and we were chatting. And he just dropped in the water and he passed out. And he came back up to the surface. So this is my witnessing of it. Obviously, he had his own wild experience, but he was drowning. He was drowning in Lake Elmo in July. And
what?
Yeah,
that's scary.
He was fighting for his life. I was watching him surface. He said later he didn't know which way was up.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't get eye contact with him. He was swimming away from the boat because he was frantic. And I got out of the boat briefly to go swim towards him, and something stopped me. I don't have lifeguard training, but whatever it was that stopped me was like, you don't have a life vest on. You can't go swim towards a drowning person.
Yeah.
So by the time I got back in the boat, he was just floating face down in the water in the middle of the boat. And I was like, oh no.
Oh, that's scary.
All of these, just emergency first responder kind of things started floating up in my mind. And by the time I got the boat to him, he had figured some massive amount of problem solving out, which I'll let him speak to. But I'll fast forward that whole story just to say that I don't know that we always have to wake up through traumatic events, and that was certainly a question that we had, but it certainly changed the trajectory of what we wanted to do with our life.
Yeah. Wow. And when did this happen? Last July?
Last April?
2 Julys ago.
Oh my
July.
gosh.
Yeah.
That's scary. So why do you think you passed out? You just.
It could have been cold water shock,
Oh.
which is some
Lake
surfers friends
Yeah.
that told me that can be the case.
Wow.
But I also have had seizures. I do have that.
That's true. That's
And I
right.
haven't had any for a long time, so I may have had a very small seizure.
Wow.
But whatever happened,
So
I
scary.
got disarmed. I'm a good swimmer. That's
Yeah.
never been an issue. I love the water.
Yeah. That's so scary.
But it's amazing what goes through your mind.
Yeah.
Like everything, all your goals, all your passions, the material world,
Yeah.
it can vanish
I mean, it really
just within seconds.
says your life just flashes before you.
It's like, it's so weird to have that experience.
Yeah. And then
Everything
I'm sure
that
you're
you
like,
are and you want and you dream about, and
Yeah.
think about,
And just gone,
vanish. Yeah.
just like that.
But and I really feel like I was able to come out of it because I was like, I need to live and I need to find a moment of calm
To get
and
out of it.
figure this out.
Yeah.
So I had this moment where I'll float, right? If I just stop.
That's
fighting.
true.
So I just relaxed and like a little buoy, I floated to the top. And there's the top.
Wow.
But I had to relax my mind. I had to like get over the fight
The panic.
and flight. Just
Yeah. Because they say that the worst thing is
Yeah.
panic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we think better when we're relaxed.
Yeah,
So we
totally.
make better choices.
Yeah.
We think through things. And I think once again, yoga and meditation help us cultivate that ability.
Yeah.
Between stimulus and response, we have
Right.
choice to. There's freedom.
Yeah.
Stimulus and response.
Mhm.
It's quite lovely. Also, I became a motorcycle rider safety coach 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something I've always loved. I was born loving motorcycles.
Yeah.
And I work with people. It's like, wow, I can actually do something I love.
That's cool.
So that was pretty fun. That was a big realization for me. Like, I'm going to start to follow my passions. When
Yeah.
you follow your passions, it's like work becomes a joy. It can become
True.
joy. It's like,
That's true. If you love what you do, it's not a job, right?
and that takes time though. It takes
It
time,
does. It does.
but just keep following it.
Yeah. It does take some time to figure out what it is that you're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
How I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah. What do I?
I don't know that we ever do figure it out entirely. I don't know
No, I
that
don't
there
think
is like.
so. That's very true. So what would you say to people that say, I can't meditate? Like, what would you say to them?
I would say that I hear you.
Yeah.
Because it isn't something that we are really built into a world where that's something, like it's not something we're taught when we're kids. And
Mhm.
there are some, more prevalence of it, I think, in like youth programming and things, mindfulness and so forth. And so I think meditate, the actual like sitting on a cushion with your mind singly focused, like that form I think is the most commonly known form of meditation, and that is challenging. And I would say that I'm actually probably not very good at that form of meditation. But Yoga Nidra is the meditation that Mike was speaking to, that I'm certified in and that we're practitioners of since about 2019. And that one is what I love to say about Yoga Nidra is it's not about focusing your thoughts, it's just being aware of your thoughts. So it's like watching clouds across the sky, and you're just like, oh, look at that cloud. And you just be like, oh, look at that thought. And it's more of this idea of just being aware of what your thoughts are and putting a little space, like Mike said, between stimulus and response, there's a choice. And so Nidra is not necessarily this honing in on a singularity, but rather just being aware that I have all of these thoughts and these circumstances that I'm thinking about, grocery lists, whatever it is that you're boggling in.
All the time.
Let them be there and let them float by, and just ask, just kind of ask yourself to be aware of them without judgment also, right? Like about, oh, that's a bad thought, or that's a good thought, or all of the.
I'm a bad person for thinking that.
Right, you gotta let go of that.
Yeah, letting go of the idea that we put value to it. And I think there's so much more, at least for me, there's been so much more resonance in that practice, because I've been able to go in and really, Nidra has been researched a lot in the past several decades by folks in trauma. There's a lineage of Nidra from Dr. Richard Miller is his name. He's worked with veterans and the unhoused. And a lot of the trauma work that happens in Nidra is unconscious. So we're asking, in Nidra, which is lovely, we're not asking you to be awake, we're actually asking you to drift a bit. Just right at the edge of sleep. So it's considered a hypnagogic state of sleep.
Okay.
And so we go through it every morning when we wake up and every night when we're falling asleep. And so it's something we innately already do.
Oh.
So when folks say they can't meditate, I'm like, hey, actually, we're already working with, at least with Nidra, we're already working with an experience your body already knows how to do.
Okay.
And I find it so accessible. It's really, I think it's really a valuable practice for us, and for the folks I've been able to share it with, it's been valuable for them too.
And is that one of the kind of things that you guys do here, like meditation and stuff, like helping people with that?
Yeah, we do. So I do Nidra right now, Tuesday evenings, and we do co-guided classes occasionally. We'll probably start some Saturday classes pretty soon that we would co-guide. So Mike would guide a physical practice, and we always say we're blending physical posture and mental posture. So the physical practice would end then with a Nidra practice at the end, so you could have what we call a micro retreat. Because we don't have a lot of time in our lives, right?
Yeah,
to be able to go take a week off and do these big things. It's not always available. So we always say we can do like 90 minutes micro retreat. We're going to dive real quick and do a physical practice and a mindfulness practice at the end, and hopefully that is enough to strike a vibration and to carry you back out into your life. And so I'll be offering more and more Nidra, and I do by request too, so you can schedule just a Nidra session and make your schedule fit with a day or time that works with your life.
Nice.
Yeah.
So kind of like a personal
individual sessions.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, life is. I think everybody's worlds are there isn't the traditional 8 to 5 much anymore.
No.
Folks are moving around a lot differently.
Yeah.
Being respectful of when a time would be better for folks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and guided meditation is helpful too. I would just tell people.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a hard time just sitting still in quietness.
Yeah.
So sometimes those guided meditations, someone kind of guiding you through it kind of helps too a little bit.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Yeah, to be in person.
Yeah.
We were, in quarantine, we were not in the company of others for so long.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that natural need, like I need to actually be around people.
Right. Yes. Well, we're social beings.
Yeah, we are.
Naturally, right?
Yeah.
And then they're shoving us in our homes away from everybody. What is happening?
And it's cool. I think a lot of people did find home practices and home gyms, and that's cool. Did. I support that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for me, I do a little bit of both, because I'm doing yoga at home by myself, but I kind of miss just being in a room with people.
Yes, the energy.
And sharing the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives us a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And connection.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So what services do you guys offer currently?
Between the two of us, I always say we have art. We're both artists. So he's a multimedia artist. I am a performance artist. So we have those practices. We offer yoga. Mike teaches the asana practice, movement practice, and I teach meditation. I also teach a few other movement practices, one of which is called office intermission. When I was in graduate school, my spine was turning into a prawn.
I'm a horrible posture.
A prawn.
Yeah. Prawn spine. And so I created this movement practice that I could do at my desk in my chair, and I created it into a sequence and videoed it and made this really rugged infomercial video and sent it to a group. I found some folks that participated in a research study, and so they would report back to me. They'd be in offices and report back, was it embarrassing to do it in front of your coworkers and things like that. Anyway, that was back in 2017, and I brought it back, and so I do that practice here in the studio. Folks can come and we set up stools and sit and do the office intermission.
Oh, okay.
And I also go out to people's offices and do it too.
Nice.
So I consider that one to be in the range of therapeutic occupational therapy.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's not, yoga is not necessarily the full range of need. Sometimes it's just a little bit of spinal movement, opening our hips, breathing a little bit, and just kind of getting back in touch with our vertebra.
Well, it's hard when you're sitting there at a chair in front of a computer screen for hours.
Gravity it's an unyielding subscription.
Yes.
You're never going to get out of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just we're always pulling down.
Yes.
Just
I slump a lot. As I'm sitting here with the posture thing, I'm like, sit up straight, Billy.
And you can slump. Just change.
It's just more comfortable.
Sure. You gotta move. Yeah.
It's like I think it's protected too. It feels like it's a protected place.
Yeah. Yeah.
All our organs are over here in the front, and so I feel like sometimes that soft belly, it's nice to protect it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why the fetal position is so cozy, because you're just
in
on yourself.
The world can go away.
Leave me alone.
Let's see. So what else? So also, I do life coaching. I consider that how I describe it as creative mindset mentoring, which is from my research when I was in graduate school, working with folks. Creative mindset. When we're creative, we're working in our brains differently, and so I really love helping bring that forward. It's that Hello, My Name is Art project. It's like we are actually all very artistic, creative beings, and bringing up how we can be creative when we wash dishes, being creative in our mindsets when so everything kind of has a little bit of a root system to not have everything be like, oh, this is not creative, this is mundane, this is just a shell of an experience, and then kind of infusing more sacredness in the yoga category, but also creating some creativity, playfulness, and curiosity. So in that regard, and then embodiment coaching is my most recent offering. Through body mind psychotherapy, I certified with a woman named Susan Apache. She's out of Colorado, is a master's in psychology and has a body mind background. And I felt like that piece for me was so important as a dance artist. I kept seeking in my art and also in my offerings ways to help folks become more embodied in their experiences. We often shut down that physical response if we have an emotional reaction or something, coming up for us. We will shut it down because we have kind of been conditioned to feel like that's not something you want to let out. It's feral.
You don't want to be uncomfortable.
Don't want to be uncomfortable. And to say that, I think it's always good to preface, not everybody wants to be embodied. So being respectful of that.
Right.
But for folks that do.
I don't want to feel anything.
Yeah, for folks that do, I love to offer some sessions for folks to work with that emotional tone. We talk about it a lot in the BMP practice, that sensation is emotion. So if we're having a sensation in our body, that does have an emotional tone.
Yeah.
And letting that emotional tone come forward, and then also not letting it just sit in your body, actually sequencing it out.
Right.
Putting words to it, vocalizing it, breathing it, breathing it through in and out. So that's another offering. And then I was gonna say Mike offers is on this course to offer nutrition.
Oh yes, tell us a little bit about that. I saw that and I was curious.
Well, again, it's like I went and looked back in my life as early as I could. I've always enjoyed food. I've always enjoyed being in the kitchen.
You're opposite of me.
I enjoy eating healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a good burger too.
Yeah.
I like to have a beer. I like to have moderation is
Yeah.
kind of my thing.
Right.
I'm not about extremes. So I kind of decided to follow that passion and get some certifications. So I did certify in Ayurveda, which is a sister science of yoga, but it's around food, what we call the dosha, or people's individual constitution. Each person is different based on their life experiences, their cultural experiences, where they live, and what you could eat might make me feel uncomfortable. I mean, so it's really about learning what works for you as opposed to me. What's your energetic time of day? What's your season? So each season has a dosha or constitution. And that's nice. It's I can kind of take that and blend it in with yoga. I'm at the humble beginnings of it still, I would say.
Yeah.
Yoga is vast and infinite. It's easy to just see yoga as this, we go in and we get a workout, and we sweat, and we get a six-pack, which you certainly can. Yeah. That's a side effect. Right. But yoga simply means union with the divine or union with the truth.
Oh, okay.
Yoga means many, many things. So my classes do involve some meditation, but certainly some movement, building up some heat. Okay. Heat in yoga is called Agni. It's the fire. It governs digestion. It helps enzyme reactions. So yoga does help with digestion. I've heard that. Yeah. That creates space in your gut, your GI tract, and also supports muscle tone, which is actually not like a six-pack.
Yeah.
Muscle's ability to adapt. Muscle tone means.
So if someone like myself has like digestive issues, like something like that could help possibly with
Yeah,
that.
it's like movement. And then here, like kind of a silly analogy I like to use is cook some bacon in a saute pan and try to wash the pan with cold water and no soap.
Yeah.
Would it work?
That's good. That's a good one.
You need hot water.
Like good old bacon grease.
Right. So you need hot water. You need in the food case, citrus. We need things that help break up fats and help us metabolize and break down molecules. And yoga, as you know, people, that's I think a big part of like hot yoga. It's such a popular thing. It builds heat. Yeah. And that releases tension and creates space in the body, of course. But we can overdo it. Yeah. And my teacher said if you get hurt doing yoga, you're not doing yoga. That was kind of the thing they said.
Because you're pushing too hard.
Pushing too hard.
And that's one thing I do like about yoga, because I am a very I like to challenge myself. I'm like pushing myself to the limit. Yeah. But yoga kind of forces me not to do that, which is good.
Yeah. That was some folks who have like chronic inflammation diseases and so forth like that. There's the phrase of do less today so you can do more tomorrow. And I feel like that's a hard one.
It is a hard one.
Yeah.
For me, especially.
And I used to not think about the next day. I was like, I'm going to get the most out of my life right now.
Which is, I mean, you should only live for today, right? Because we just never know what could happen tomorrow.
This is the last party.
See, that's how my thought process is. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do it.
And then you're like trying to sit on the toilet the next day, like, oh my god, I can't even bend my legs.
I cannot feel my legs.
But I think that's not a bad energy though, too. I think you're excited.
Yeah.
Life is exciting. Things are fun.
Yeah. So then the nutritional side is very intriguing to me, because I have a hard time. I know what I should be eating, but in our culture, I mean, we're go. So say someone came walking through your door right now and said, I want help with my nutrition. So how do the steps go with that?
What's nice to see in the past few years, or even right now, is looking at nutrition for the individual, for each person, how nutrition is unique to you, not a normalized view of it. Yeah. What works for you may not necessarily work for someone else. So. Right. And also what's nice is nutrition has so heavily been involved with aesthetic appearance. Yeah. How do you look, and obesity, and what's nice now is a lot of nutrition is like looking at energy. How do you feel? How are you sleeping? And that's quite fun. It's much more effective and enjoyable to look at nutrition and use it to build energy and joy and happiness, and use food to get you through the day and sleep well. So that's quite nice. And so identifying it in that sense. So I'm certified in Ayurveda, which is very old. But I also do like Western nutrition, Western medicine. I'm kind of blending those two things. And again, it's infinite. And it's you just have to try things.
So do you ask them kind of what's your diet now? Then
certainly. What are you eating now? Okay. How well do you sleep? How's your energy level?
I love that case study that you shared with me from one of your trainings about someone that was really busy. I think they were a caretaker and had a full-time job. And so they were running through drive-throughs, but they really only had time for as a drive-through, because they also had a really big commute. And the nutrition coach that was on that case study, they're suggesting most of the time there's this, here's a meal plan that you're gonna have to probably spend more money on, eat things you've never eaten before, you're gonna be in the kitchen a lot. And that case study was cool, because it was, well, let's look at the menu at McDonald's. And they just went through the menu at McDonald's and looked at all of the things that she normally would eat. Yeah. And then they started picking things out, this would be a great thing to pick up for lunch, and then grab this for dinner. And so it wasn't about necessarily full lifestyle change. You can't, that's a bad thing, you shouldn't go do that. Yeah. I loved the idea that it was this is your lifestyle, these are the circumstances in which you're busy, and here's how we can kind of blend some things to give you more energy, so that at the end of the day you're not tired.
Not just eating dead food.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Are there healthy things at McDonald's?
I don't
know I'm not so sure what
Kind of curious.
I don't think the fast food restaurant was named, but I recall. But they were able to look at the menu and find healthier options.
So kind of like a Eat This Not That book.
Maybe,
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
That's kind of cool.
What is it, sorry?
Eat This Not That. So they take like, the bigger franchise places and say, okay, instead of eating this, eat this instead.
That's great.
And the things that you think are more healthy are not so much healthier than the other thing.
Yeah.
Like a big salad with all this stuff on it is not that much more healthier than a hamburger.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Get some protein in it. An iceberg lettuce versus like a spinach lettuce or I think those are kind of some of the things that Mike really is great at finding. I grew up not really in the kitchen at all. I was pretty resistant to the kitchen. I think one of our first dates, I cooked for him, and it was, good sport he was, but it was a massive meltdown in the kitchen.
Like you had a meltdown?
I think the food had a meltdown. I had a meltdown.
I have a meltdown every time I have to cook. I'm like, I hate this. I'm throwing things around. Frank's like, what are you doing in there?
Is Frank cook?
He's the cook. He's the cook in the house.
That's cool.
I tell him all the time, like, if you didn't cook, we would all just be anorexic. Seriously, because I forget to eat. That's how busy I am. And I feel bad for my kids. They're home, during the summertime. And they're like, Mom, can we have lunch now? I'm like, what? What's lunch? Like, what?
You just get wrapped up in things.
But I don't think about it. But yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, I think I don't know. So I never really was formally told that I had disordered eating, but I grew up just really like you, prioritizing so many other things besides eating.
Yeah.
And I got to a place several times in my life where Mike would kind of just be like, hey, when was the last time you had a meal? And stuff like that. I had my brother intervened at one point and was like, I just want to let you know this is how many calories Michael Phelps eats. And based on your lifestyle, maybe you should be a little, you're eating bird food. Just kind of stuff like that. And so I did, when I started grad school, I was having a conversation with my advisor about it. And her name's Patricia Cuppers, a beautiful person. And she kind of authorized a prescription almost of part of your graduate work is to go downstairs and be in the kitchen. You may not like what you cook, you may feel like you're not good at cooking, but you need to actually prioritize that as a creative practice.
Yeah.
And be in relationship to what you need to feed yourself. And so it has bloomed for me a little bit. But I think that is part of nutrition is a lot of folks are not unlike us. It's food, being in the kitchen and doing the dishes.
Yes.
And going to the grocery store.
That's the part.
All of it. I think some of the battles.
Dishwashers do half of the work.
That's true. But the whole so for me, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are the same, the whole planning, okay, what am I gonna cook? And then I gotta go get the groceries, and then I gotta prep it. And it's just this whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't.
And I think that's but bringing some creativity back into it.
Yeah.
And also, we used to spend so much time cooking meals. We look back, God, we just spent forever cooking those meals, and we've really cut down on time. And that's fun. You can really simplify the whole process.
You can, and,
you can make a lean steak only needs to be sauteed 4 or 5 minutes on each side. Chop some vegetables.
You mean don't burn it like I do?
Use less dishes. You've heard of one pot cooking and that kind of thing.
See, that's my
how can I save time and make this just easier?
Yeah.
And also take a break.
Yeah.
Go out once in a while.
Yeah.
Let's go out and
get
something to eat or do takeout.
And
give yourself a little break.
We're starting to get a lot more healthy choices in Billings too. I've noticed.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That is a nice part of it too, is because, like you said, time. There's just, particularly if you have a commute too, to go home and cook lunch isn't probably a possibility. So to be able to resource. Getting something that's not gonna. For me, if it's certain foods, I'm in a nap after lunch. And so I have to be so careful about that, because it's what do I have? Oh, I can't probably have a big old meal
because I have this little food coma.
And Chris and I met in a restaurant in Helena. We've worked in multiple restaurants here in Billings, and so we love food.
Yeah.
And we've also worked in the industry, so we like to support our local
Mhm.
servers.
Yeah.
So
Foodies. I'm definitely a foodie. I love food.
Yeah.
if there's good restaurants, I want them to stay open. And
Yeah. I want to support them.
that.
Yeah. So what's your favorite kind of food?
Favorite kind of food? My goodness, I'm very like mood oriented, so it depends on the day. So there's days where it's like more like poke bowls,
Oh, I love
stuff
poke
like
bowls.
sushi types of things.
Yeah.
And then there's days where like Indian food, which I've been hearing that we're gonna cast a little bit more of those flavors.
Oh.
Those flavors. There's some restaurants, I think restaurants that's gonna be opening pretty soon.
Okay.
But like Spitz or Athenian.
I like Spitz. Yeah.
And then
Good.
just generally like Mike was saying, like sometimes protein and veg, like sometimes I just don't want to have a lot of prep and I just need some fast protein. And other times I don't want to chew my food.
Yeah.
So a smoothie.
That's great. I don't feel like chewing today.
Like an Ayurveda would say that you need to choose. I tried it a few times, and whether I feel like I actually need to do it, but Ayurveda says you should chew your food at least 32 to 34 times.
Oh wow.
So I've sat there and counted.
Are you
like,
serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
And even on
Me
the
too.
so I've done it several times, like counting 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's a lot of chewing.
Why? So why? Because of digestion?
Yeah, it promotes digestion for
Okay.
sure. And actually, one of the main things to improve health, quite simply, is eating more slowly and mindfully. Allowing the digestive process to happen.
Yeah, and yet that's a good point because in busy lives, you don't really think about it. You're just like shoving it down your throat,
And the more we
That
break
tastes
it down into smaller particles and eventually molecules and such,
right.
the easier our gut
That's
has to break it down and also get the nutrition.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I just love learning about that.
Yeah.
All these little things. And as you get older, it's like, I'm looking for all these little things to like make this vessel last longer. When
Right.
you're young,
I know it.
we're kind of invincible.
It's like after you turn 40. Well, I don't know how old you guys are, but after you turn 40, you're like, when is happening?
Absolutely.
40 suck.
It's like an apex. So it's like, oh, I've kind of figured out, I think, who I am, and now my body's like, kind of like, I think we're done now.
Yeah, we're good now. We're done. That's funny. So, what's your favorite kind of food?
Oh, I do love the poke bowls. I love Italian.
Oh, I do too.
I grew up in an Italian family, so Mediterranean.
There's no good Italian food here, though. Or do you guys have recommendations?
That's a good question.
I have not found good Italian
Let's
food
see.
here.
I mean, there's the American Italian, like Ciao Mambo,
Yeah.
Olive Garden. That's quite a bit different.
Yeah.
I did manage the Cafe Italia, which was on Montana Avenue one time, and that was pretty darn close to traditional Italian.
I didn't even know that was there. I missed it.
Quite some time.
Yeah.
That's when Krista was working across the street at the Carmen.
Oh, I remember the Carlin.
Yeah.
But I remember, I was just thinking about how when you would have a performance coming up with Terpsichore. That was a busy time.
Yeah.
And you're rehearsing and using your bodies
Mhm.
heavily, rehearsing once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when your body needs nutrition the most.
Right.
And that can be when it's the hardest to get nutrition.
It is.
When you're
busy.
under this physical, mental, emotional demand.
Right.
When we're not getting the nutrition we need, we're prone to injury and fatigue. And
What do you guys think of intermittent fasting? Yes or no?
I haven't intentionally pursued it.
Mhm.
There's just times where my body's like, no,
No
you
food.
need a break.
Yeah.
And it can be sometimes due to like accumulation of certain meal types. Because, it's like, oh, I'm going to have a burger today, then I'm Italian the next day, and then I'm going to have, maybe beans and Mexican kind of thing. And so my body will just have a buildup. And then my body's like, no.
Yeah.
Calm. So it'll come up that way of like, I've been working more with like what's my body actually craving, and sometimes it's texture. Like there's like I want to eat on something that's like crunchy.
Yeah.
And so I'll go that direction. But the intermittent fasting, I think for some folks it can be really, really helpful to I think in some ways, if it's set up right, it can be an opportunity, just like with mindfulness, to put some space between action and reaction.
Yeah.
Right. We just habitually sometimes live in our patterns of eating. So sometimes I think the intermittent fasting can potentially create an opportunity like, oh, I usually reach for this in my life as a pattern, but maybe this is giving me an opportunity to look at it a little differently.
Yeah.
And it can also be a reset too, I think. But I don't have as much experience with it. Maybe you weren't.
Yeah, trying to stay in my lane. Where I don't have a doctorate.
Yeah.
But intermittent with Ayurveda, there's what's called the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha constitution or dosha. Fasting is kind of viewed different for different constitutions. It definitely needs to be cycled. For a certain period of time for one person, maybe a day, maybe a week. But that varies. It takes a large meal 8 to 10 hours to digest. And especially if it's a big dinner. If I had a big dinner last night,
you're still digesting.
I'll probably have something lighter in the morning.
Okay.
And I think if we listen to our body, we can feel it.
Yeah.
Still feel full.
Don't eat. Yeah.
But sometimes we just need meals.
I think we just don't listen to our bodies enough. Like I know for me, I'm just like, well, it's time to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm not even hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
So. But you need electrolytes, so there's things
Yeah.
that can help you with fasting, like grapefruit and different kinds of teas and licorice root, and et cetera, all those things that can kind of promote fasting, like diuretics, even like coffee.
Right.
Increases metabolic processes.
Right.
But I think trying things, cycling things.
Trying things out. Not sitting at a counter with a bag of tortilla chips mindlessly munching.
That's so good though.
I do. And when going back to what's one of my favorite foods, Mexican good tacos.
Yeah.
I love tacos.
Tacos are so good.
I love a good salsa.
Yeah.
I love food. So.
Yeah. My thing is I'm stressing out because, I work mostly from home, which is not good because then I'll just, if I'm stressed out about a deal or something, I go upstairs and I open up my tortilla chips and my hummus and I'm just just sitting there and I don't even know how many chips I ate and how much the whole hummus container's gone and I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? I'm sure people out there can feel that pain.
You always like serious when you don't even bother sitting down.
Yeah,
you're
exactly. You're right by then.
Yeah.
Just over the sink so the crumbs can go.
Yeah. You don't even get a plate, you're just eating.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to name names, but what would you say to the people, he probably knows what I'm talking about, that say, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think and it's a very common statement, I think too, and we talked about like it's a mental posture as well as a physical posture, and so definitely there's ranges in class. I'll let Mike speak to that part a little bit more, but in terms of what I found in my practice is I'm not necessarily showing up for my mat to be super bendy. I'm showing up to do a series of postures to kind of help me interface with my thoughts, to access a little bit different way of breathing. To open up my capillaries and my heart, get my body moving, flush some stuff out, things of that nature. And so you can certainly find different types of yoga lineages and practices that have different things. I think that's why it's so cool that it is such a large family of practices around the world. You can find a lot of different practices, and you can find the one that suits you, the teacher that suits you. And so I always tell people that if your experience has been that you're in a practice and you're feeling like the class is moving too fast, or I'm being kind of stretched into spaces that I don't have range for, to keep looking or ask, at the end of class, talk with the teacher. We do individual sessions with people to work with, yoga blocks, to help them find their range, because it's at the end of the day, the yoga is yours.
Right.
It's not something that
it's your practice.
It's not something that we're trying to create aesthetic for. There's a lot of aesthetic culture I think in yoga, but I think for me, particularly coming from dance, which was highly aesthetic for purpose, for me to not have a mirror to look and be like, am I perfectly straight? Just like, does it feel good?
Yeah.
Is this my range today?
It's not competitive.
Yeah, to really just be with, this is what I need today.
Right.
And so I often come to it from that perspective. But I was gonna let Mike speak a little because I think you.
Yeah, sure. Going back to what was said earlier, which is our breath is the most intimate teacher. I definitely, for myself, and if I were to be a guy, this is moving with your breath. This is very important. If you're unable to, or you're not moving with your breath, slow down or back off on perhaps one of the postures or poses. Just step back a little bit. Also balance. If I feel like if someone in the class, a client or student, is having trouble with balance, then there's no need to continually do more challenging postures until you've established the foundation of breath and balance.
Right.
And that takes time. So I think when we talk about practice, it takes time, it takes patience. And rather than thinking about, I don't really use the word stretching, I use kind of like finding space.
I like that.
It's not about end range.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about maintaining balanced joint space and feeling a healthy movement of force and strength. And muscles pull, they do not push. So I think moving with the breath. Sure. And welcoming also that heat that I talked about earlier. Welcoming a little bit of heat, not dripping sweat necessarily, just a little bit of body heat.
Right.
Welcoming that into our body, because that does create space, generate energy in our body, and circulation moves faster.
Well, it's just kind of like real life. You can't compare yourself to others. Right.
Yeah.
So
that becomes a really fast loop of just feeling not great about yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, and social media doesn't help because you're scrolling on, oh, so and so's doing this and I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you can't compare yourself to others.
And I think feeling like you need to keep up with the rest of the class is not entirely necessary. I think move at your own pace.
Yeah.
There'll be a pause along the way, and I think it's also some classes, some days you're more in a mental space. And it's just, I'm here and this feels amazing. I'm just going to stay here.
Maybe just lie in Shavasana.
Yeah, and that's just listening to your body's own innate healing process.
Yeah.
And as a guide, I'll always wait up and allow people to take the time that they need and go the direction they need to go. Also, it's said in yoga, there isn't alignment in yoga, there's only alignment in people. We all have different bodies, different shapes, and different angles in our joints. And
that's awesome.
And people, they know themselves the best.
Yeah, that's true.
Once you slow down, you start to cue in. And another thing I like to speak to is what creates apprehension and hesitation. And that can also be done in Nidra. That's something I've worked on in Nidra. Why do I hesitate?
Yeah.
Where's this self-doubt coming from? What am I afraid of?
Imposter syndrome too.
Yeah, right. All those things, judgment, external judgment.
Yeah.
And like finding out why.
Right.
Trying to move across those little barriers and find flow in life.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's like yoga doesn't end on the mat. It's really to find flow in life.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a great tool for that.
Gotta go with the flow.
Flow,
go with the water. Flow like water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
like water. Yeah.
Just be like water. Because that's I struggle with that every day. My husband always says, you just need to flow like water. And I'm like, no, I want to fight against the water. Like I'm that, is it the salmon that like try to go up the.
Go upstream.
That's me. I'm the salmon.
I always like the quote that water always finds a way. Like even if it seems like we see water in all of its states, and sometimes it's very violent, and very pushed, and it's moving things. So I think also it's water can be a lot of different things when it needs to be. Yeah. But it's always finding a way.
Right. Yeah.
Frank is pretty chill by nature, isn't he?
He is a pretty chill guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
he balances me. He's like the more like chill guy, and I'm like I'm like that. And he's just like, hey. Okay, but it works because I mean, if there was two of me in the house, it would be insane.
Yeah.
It'd be insanity. If there's two of me, period, it'd be really bad. No.
But he needs a little bit of your energy.
Yeah. You balance each other out. It's like yin and yang.
Yeah, and I've experienced that. That's like when we're talking about extreme. Sometimes, like I've been doing a lot of yoga, I can almost feel like I'm getting too mellow.
Yeah.
Too like, so I get on my bicycle and kind of.
Get that.
I need
get
a little
motor
charge.
running.
Yeah, right. So,
get the chaps on.
Yeah.
Go horse.
Yeah. John the rodeo.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So where's the best place for people to find your schedule?
We're online with rainsoulstudio.com. There's a yoga drop down and there's a schedule listed and then a registration page called Attend. And then we're on social media, Facebook and Instagram. We do have a TikTok, but that's just more scenic
Oh, you're
stuff.
on a TikTok.
Just has a little scenic stuff. We don't really have much.
To find you on
You
there.
can find us. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Rain Soul Studio. For
I love
I think in
TikTok.
each one of those handles is Rain Soul Studio. And then we're located physically downtown Billings above Jake's Restaurant in the historic Grand building. They've been renovating these spaces for smaller property folks like us and larger offices too. And so we're at 100 North 27th Street and we're on the 4th floor. So you can take the elevator up to see us or the stairs. And I always like to say we're completely, we aren't completely ADA access. There are 4 stairs that come down to our studio. So if you do need accessibility accommodations, we always let people know to reach out to us because we can rent a studio midtown that is handicap accessible. If for some reason those 4 stairs are a restriction.
Okay.
But otherwise, those are kind of the best places to find us, find our schedule, and you can also reach out to do a discovery call for coaching. Yeah.
Okay.
Or residency work. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you guys have been open since?
Let's see, we started Rain Soul Studio last year in officially January 1st of 2022, and then this space opened in April.
Okay. Wow. And it's a gorgeous space, you guys. Like the brick, you can't see it right here, but there's brick and these beautiful windows that look at the downtown scenery. It's a very nice location.
Yeah, it feels, folks have been saying it feels like a nest.
It does. It feels good in here. Like I could chill.
Yeah.
I might take a nap actually after this.
Happy to do that.
You have an idea?
Absolutely. We'll set you up with the pillow.
And
We have a pillow here. We're good.
We're really welcome feedback, and we're trying to figure out kind of what times work best for people.
Okay.
So we do need feedback because that's how we learn.
Yeah.
And being a yoga guide, I think it's more challenging than I ever thought it could be.
Yeah.
Speaking correctly and guiding people and making sure people are safe and comfortable in
Right.
their space. And I'm always learning myself. I think I always will be.
Yeah.
So yeah, good feedback. And let us know what works for you. We want yoga to be accessible to people and nidra.
To all experience levels, right?
Yeah.
Even if you've never done yoga before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I was going to say that we do offer a free 45-minute class every Monday called Techniques for Stress Management. So we use that as like our entry. If you want to try us out without a financial commitment, you can come take that 45-minute class. It's a free-for-all, so meaning that you might have Mike as a teacher, you might have me, you might do meditation, you might do movement, but it's just a place you can get to know us.
That's awesome.
On Mondays at 5:15.
At 5:15. Okay. Did you hear that? Mondays, 5:15. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yep.
So you can kind of try it out.
Yeah.
Test the waters.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And also we have an opportunity to get like parking vouchers for the city of Billings.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
So you
Nice.
have to-
Yes. Good old parking downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's super easy to find. Yeah, if you know where Jake's is downtown, you just go through that one entrance on 27, pop up elevator, boom, there you are.
We're right off the elevator.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like somebody might have commented, so I'm
Okay.
gonna just check because I don't want to ignore anybody.
Sure.
Do you have any questions? Oh, Katie Vanderloos, morning friends.
Hi, Katie.
She owns Black Orchid Studio.
We worked with Katie a long time ago at Q Cuisine to get
Yeah.
all 3
Oh,
different.
no kidding?
Yep, we
Yeah,
all
fun,
3
yeah.
would run that little 45-seat restaurant together. And when we were training Katie, we would often give her the entire restaurant to serve, and we would just follow behind her.
Oh, wow.
And back waiter essentially, and she was amazing at it.
Yeah.
Really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's more like hot yoga they do
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yep. And they have some really good spin
Yeah.
classes
Yeah.
I've been doing lately.
Yeah, so try everything out.
Yeah, just try and see what works for you.
Develop a practice. It takes time. Be patient with yourself. And,
Mhm.
yeah.
Just keep moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just keep moving.
Because what is that saying where like if you just sit there, you're gonna. There's some saying I can't remember what it is.
Sitting.
Like if you don't move, you're gonna like get
Oh,
lost
like
or something.
ossify or
Or,
kind of-
I don't know.
Turn to stone. Turn to stone.
So just keep moving.
Yeah.
But if you are sitting still, your blood is circulating.
Yeah.
There's like trillions of things going on.
Yeah.
When you're still, you're thoughts, as you know, because
Oh, yeah.
your mind is moving.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's all balance, really. It really is. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this with me this morning. It was nice to catch up with you guys.
Yeah,
I haven't
absolutely.
seen you.
I've been thinking about you, so I love that note.
Isn't that funny?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I get to hear about what's going on in your life now.
Heck yeah. I love it. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Definitely check these guys out, Rainsville Studio. Your handles at Rainsville Studio pretty much on all of social media, and then their website too. So, all right, well, check these guys out, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Ciao.